Okay, so Hogwarts Legacy is coming out tomorrow, February 10th, and it's got a lot of people talking about, like, oh, are you transphobic if you buy it? Like, since J.K. Rowling is getting royalty checks from the game purchases, are you implicitly supporting J.K. Rowling and her transphobia by buying this game? And, well, the answer is not really, right? I mean, she is getting checks from this, and she is making money, but she's already a billionaire, right? She already has a massive platform. She's already known as, like, the anti-trans advocate. She is literally the queen of transphobia, right? Because she lives in a massive castle in Scotland. She's a colonizer, by the way. She colonized Scotland as an Anglo-Saxon woman living in Scotland, right? She's been transphobic for like a long time now, but it's especially ramped up in the last few years. Her Twitter usage is out of control, right? Probably because of the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic fucked up everyone mentally, like in some way or another, right? And she's just always on. She's a Twitter power user right now, right? Like anyone who is being publicly trans on Twitter, or if you're publicly like supporting trans rights, then there's a chance like J.K. Rowling and her goon squad might just be coming after you next, right? So like she's already a billionaire, she's already like a celebrity, like in a way, right? She's already known as like the queen of transphobia. So like she stands to make like hundreds of thousands of dollars or possibly millions of dollars from this, but like she's already a billionaire. She's already like supporting anti-trans advocacy groups, like some hate groups even, right? Which is really bad. But like, is she going to give more money once she makes like money from Hogwarts Legacy? Is that money going to go to like trans hate movements? I mean, it's possible, right? But like the point is that like she's already doing the thing. So there's a website that if you type in someone's Twitch name, it shows like if they're streaming it or not. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to say. Yeah, Asmongold talked about it. Yeah, we'll watch that later maybe. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, so yeah, it is weird to like I don't know, look up who is streaming Hogwarts Legacy, and then like I don't know, what are they doing exactly? Are they like gonna go into their chat to like berate them about like you're transphobic for playing this and you're like supporting transphobia? Because I just looked this up, and like Hogwarts Legacy, even though it's being released tomorrow, you know, they give early access to some prominent streamers, and Hogwarts Legacy is already like the biggest category, right after the second biggest category, right after just chatting, right? Or not anymore. Okay. So it's like there are already plenty of people playing it. Look, this person even looks like they would be like a trans advocate, right? 19K viewers, Fextra Life. Yeah, so it's like, have they streamed that wizardgame.com? Yeah, the wizard game, because like I guess Hogwarts Legacy is like the game that must not be named, right? It's the Voldemort of video games, right? Yeah, that wizard game. Yeah, so, or I guess it's to see like which streamers to boycott, right? Like the website is like telling you like which streamers you're not allowed to watch anymore. So like, who shut down the website? Did the makers of the website shut it down, or did they get shut down? Yeah, so I don't like this whole boycott thing, because for the reasons I already explained, like um the site has been suspended by the owner, so that can mean a lot of different things, right? That can mean that like they were forced to take it down somehow, right? Yeah, I wonder. But yeah, I think this whole movement to like get like people to um boycott Hogwarts Legacy is kind of pointless. I think it comes from like a sense of like helplessness and on like the part of like the trans advocacy community, because like they want to cancel J.K. Rowling so badly, you know they do, and she's already been canceled. That's the thing, right? She's already like she wasn't involved in like the making of the game. The only way she's involved is that like she owns the intellectual property that the game is based on, so she's getting money from it that way. Like she's not like involved in the game. She's not like making the game. She's not making it transphobic. In fact, like there is like the one trans character or like trans-ish character that exists in Hogwarts Legacy. And so there is that one trans character. So, and the character itself is like kind of questionable. Like it could be that but like just having a trans character and portraying like the struggle of trans people is like sort of like pro-trans, right? Even though the name is Sorona Ryan, right? Like it's a trans woman. It's sort of implied that they're trans. Like they say like, oh, I used to be a wizard, but now I'm a witch. And yeah, and then they say like, oh, the first person that acknowledged my identity was like a goblin, and like the other students in Hogwarts like wouldn't accept me. But I think they got accepted eventually. So I think that would be like pro-trans, right? Even though the name Sorona Ryan is kind of funny, right? Because it's like Sir Ona. It's kind of like, you know, J.K. Rowling is known for like retroactively putting in like minority characters into her books, like making Dumbledore gay. Like, hey, guess what, guys? Dumbledore is gay now, even though there was nothing in the books about him being gay. I guess he eventually did become gay, like in the Harry Potter prequel movies. Oh man, enchanted something, I forgot what it is. Like Dumbledore is like portrayed as gay, right? So they did get that in eventually, but like they would add like, she would add like one Asian character into Hogwarts, and her name is Cho Chang, which is I mean that could be like a name, but it's very like a stereotypically Chinese sounding name. It's like, I don't know, like very, very just short of like using the C word to describe the C slur to describe or the one black character is named, what is it, like Kingsley Shacklebolt, like as in like kind of like a reference to slavery, right? And then like Sorona Ryan is it's like, why do they have to have Sir in the name? And then Ryan, stereotypically like a male first name. It's just all weird, right? It's just like kind of like a wink and a nudge. But like some people are saying that like, oh, Hogwarts Legacy is woke now, right? So like on one hand you got the trans advocates saying it's transphobic, right? And then on the other hand it's woke. And also like it takes place in like the late 1800s apparently. So like I guess if it's difficult for Hogwarts to like accept a transgender person, like you can't really ask more of like English people in like the 19th century, right? It's enough that like they accept them for who they are, right? Also, like the thing about like being in a wizarding world is like there's got to be a way to change your sex, right? There's got to be like some magic spell to cast, right? To like, you know, swap out your dick with a pussy or vice versa, right? There's got to be like a, I don't know, transgenderify spell, right? I cast transgenderify, right? I mean, if J.K. Rowling can like retroactively put like a, I don't know, like a queer disabled I don't know, black woman in the books, then like there's got to be a way to like, oh yeah, there's a transgender potion you can drink that like changes your sex, right? I mean, there's all sorts of like crazy stuff that happens in Hogwarts, in like the wizarding world of Harry Potter, right? There's got to be a way, right? There's got to be. So yeah, that's why all of this is kind of silly, right? So leftist Twitter is like making a huge deal out of this, right? And it's not really having like much of an effect. Like you can't boycott a game, right? You can't boycott like a huge game like this. It's just not like possible, right? Like you can have like targeted boycotts of like I don't know, a specific company, maybe that can have some effect, but like for something that like anyone can buy on a computer, like over the internet, like, I mean, even if you get people to not buy it, it's like such a small impact that you're making. It's like people are gonna buy it whether or not you try to cancel the game, right? But like making a big deal out of this is like having sort of like the opposite effect now, right? Where it's like it's gotten people talking about it, but like in a negative way. Like now like the normies are like criticizing the reaction to the game. Like the Act Man got in on this. I don't know much about the Act Man. It's an acting male, epic gamer dude bro extraordinaire. So yeah, he's a big normie guy. He's like a normie gamer bro, right? He probably like appeals to the Gamergate crowd. So he tweeted out, if you buy Hogwarts Legacy or like Harry Potter, you're automatically a transphobe. That's like saying if you've ever played a Blizzard game, you're automatically a fan of sexual harassment, because like, yeah, Blizzard was recently outed for being like a den of sexual misconduct, right? Where do these people come up with these Scarlet Brainrot takes? So yeah, that's the thing about like J.K. Rowling, is that she's already been canceled, right? She's been canceled for a long time. Like a lot of other people like in the Harry Potter universe, a lot of actors, a lot of writers, like, I mean, the big actors like Emma Watson or oh my god, what's his name? Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, or like the actor who played Ron Weasley. I don't know who that guy is. Like they've all come out and said like trans people are valid, trans women are women, trans men are men, and that we denounce all the transphobia, right? And a lot of J.K. Rowling's community has turned against her, right? A lot of them are like talking about how they're so disappointed, right, about at J.K. for spreading such like a hateful message, that like J.K. Rowling created a fantasy world that they could escape to, that told them like, oh, they're all valid, and that they should just believe in themselves and be themselves, right? Yeah, like the whole like story about Harry Potter is like this young kid who like doesn't feel like he fits in, he doesn't feel like he has a place in the world, and then a magical companion shows up and tells him that there's a whole new world out there, a whole secret world full of like wonderful mysteries that that will accept them, and that there's a place for them. That all along that there was a place for them in this world, right? And that can sort of be related to like the struggle of trans people, right? Like trans people's like very identity is invalidated and like attacked on a daily basis. Like they're told that like they're built wrong, right? That they shouldn't be the way they are, but like they're an abomination, right? But then they're showed this like magical world where like anything is possible, right? But then J.K. Rowling turns around and says, no, we didn't, when I wrote that, I didn't mean you, trans people. I meant just like, I meant people like me. Yes, I was appealing to cisgender, heterosexual, white boys. That's why I made Harry Potter one of them, right? Yeah. So that's another reason why, like, yeah, canceling or the like Hogwarts Legacy is dumb, because like there are a lot of fans of the Harry Potter universe. I mean, you have to admit that like the Harry Potter universe is pretty cool, right? I mean, at least to a child, like it's it does have a lot of like world building, right? It incorporates like a lot of like historically English or British culture. I mean, if you're into that sort of stuff, right? It's basically like if English culture was good and was cool, right? Yeah, but like I was sort of into Harry Potter as a kid, not really, but like I get the appeal, right? I thought it was pretty cool in its own way. It wasn't really my thing. The books were all right. The movies were pretty good, and the I've seen a few of the prequel movies, and they were pretty good as well, right? Anyway, a lot of fans of the Harry Potter universe are like totally pro-trans and like pro-LGBTQ plus rights, and like they want to play the game, but like they feel like they're going to be attacked, right? If they're going to be like labeled a transphobe if they if they play the game, and it's just like very dumb. Like the left, like the online left, like it seems it comes across to normies as like you're not allowed to have fun. Like if you enjoy this thing or that thing, then like that makes you a bad person, and you need to do better, sweetie. You need to check your privilege, and you need to sit down and listen, right? So yeah, it's having like the opposite effect now, where it's like, oh, I'm transphobic if I buy this game. You love J.K. Rowling? Well, good for you. Are you gonna play Hogwarts Legacy? So yeah, it's having the opposite effect now, where it's like you're playing. Cool. Are you do you enjoy her anti-trans messaging? Why do you love J.K. Rowling? Do you just love her for her writing, or for her? I see you're a Mormon, so maybe you are anti-trans. So yeah, it's having the opposite effect now, where it's like, oh, I'm transphobic if I buy Hogwarts Legacy, then I'm going to buy Hogwarts Legacy just to piss off the trans people. It's kind of like how PETA is so obnoxious with her activism that their efforts become counterintuitive to their own cause. It's so fucking annoying. It makes you want to eat more meat just to spite them. You disagree that she's transphobic? I mean, she's pretty open about her transphobia, right? Like, I don't know, like what argument there is to make there, right? Like, how is she not transphobic? She like regularly posts that she is transphobic. She regularly says that like trans people are invalid. Trans people are like just trans women are just like men dressing up as women, right? Or like trans people are predators. They're like groomers, right? I don't know what the argument is that she's not transphobic, right? I understand if you like her for her storytelling abilities. By the way, she's fallen off, right? Just because she has a different opinion about gender doesn't mean she's transphobic. I mean, it kind of does. I mean, in this case, right? That is true. Just because she has a different opinion, but like her opinion is like objectively transphobic. Like, do we have to go over like J.K. Rowling tweets? Okay, maybe we'll do that later. So yeah, vegans. Yeah, this is a good point. Like, vegans are so annoying that it's like there's a whole subculture around around like pissing off vegans, just like for the memes, right? And it is obnoxious. It is like it is a lot of virtue signaling, right? Because like by not buying Hogwarts Legacy, you're signaling the virtue that that you are pro trans, you're pro the trans cause. Whereas like not buying Hogwarts Legacy, like whether you play it or not, it doesn't really matter, right? Like even if like the trans community could like get like a boycott going, there's no way they could have like any kind of meaningful impact. Her opinion is not transphobic is if it does not offend trans people and only presents her view of gender. It does offend trans people. it only, I mean, her view of gender is that trans people like are not valid, right? Yeah, I mean, I can respect other people's opinions, but like her opinion is like legitimately just like transphobic, right? Like like I don't think there's an argument to be made for her not being transphobic. Like she's repeatedly said that like her opinion on gender construct is that like trans people are like mentally ill, they need help, or that like they're predators trying to like using like dressing up as women, pretending to be women so that they can infiltrate women's spaces, right? She's been pretty open about like her opinions on trans people, and like she has admitted that like she's afraid of like anyone with a penis, right? Because that she is like a man-hating kind of radical feminist. She's like she's an old woman right now. She's like at least 50 something years old. So like she's part of like the old school like second wave feminists that like really popularized man-hating, right? And really like, I mean, I get why they do it, right? I get that like men, the way women were treated back in like the 1960s or whatever was pretty bad, right? So like just like the trans people, I can understand why they're mad, right? I can understand that their anger is legitimate because they legitimately face a lot of like struggles and a lot of hate, right? But like she doesn't I mean, she's not like as open, she's not like as vocal about like her hatred of men as she is her hatred of trans people, but I think she has said in the past that like she dislikes men. She has like an innate distrust and like fear and hatred of men, like a lot of women, like a lot of like man-hating women do. Their hatred and fear of men comes from like a legitimate place of like they've been traumatized by like being sexually or physically like harassed or abused in the past, right? I think J.K. Rowling said that like she is a victim, and like that's totally valid. But like just like the trans people who are trying to like cancel Hogwarts Legacy, like they're directing their anger towards like the wrong place, right? So the second wave feminists like popularized like man-hating back when it was like more understandable to do so, right? But they couldn't have foreseen like transgenderism or transsexualism, right, as it was called back then, right? Yeah, back then transgenders were called transsexuals, and it was much more of a niche issue, right? It was much more of like They were, if gay people were in the closet in the 1960s, like trans people were way in the closet, like way in like the big walk-in closet, like in the basements, like they were like locked away, like. So like the hatred of men that like second wave feminists engage in is like very biologically essentialist, right? It's like men are inherently bad because like they have testosterone in them, which makes them more violent and prone to like I don't know, like brutish behavior, and they have penises, which are tools used to invade women's spaces, literally, right? It's a tool used to do sexual assault, right? They couldn't have foreseen that like that biologically essentialist hatred and fear of men would extend to trans people, right? So now like J.K. Rowling is hating on like anyone who is biologically male, which includes trans people. So like she sees trans women, especially because like nobody talks about like trans men, like transphobes don't talk about trans men. You don't remember Rowling saying such things? Well, I'm pretty sure, I mean, it's indisputable that she has said these things about trans people, right? Yeah, she has not been open about like her hatred of men, right? Has she? Why don't we check? Yeah, so I'm not saying J.K. Rowling hates all men, of course. She says that she's married now to a good man, right? Of course. It's funny to say like, oh, that he's a good man, like oh, he's one of the good ones. So she says that, however, the scars left by violence and sexual assault don't disappear no matter how loved you are, no matter how much money you've made. And so, yeah, she's using like, she reveals that she's a domestic abuse and a sexual assault survivor, and she's sharing her traumatic history now out of solidarity with the huge numbers of women who have histories like mine, who have been slurred as bigots for having concerns around single-sex spaces. Yeah, so she's using her like pain as a survivor of sexual assault as like an excuse basically for being transphobic, and you know, that's not acceptable, right? Like I said, it's understandable that she's angry, and it's understandable that she's hurt, right? I know like it's you can't like get over like something traumatic happening to you, but like the point is that she's directing her anger in the wrong directions, right? Like she's attacking trans people because she sees them as like males infiltrating female spaces, right? And I'm sorry, but that is transphobic, right? She's saying that like trans women don't belong in women's spaces because they're not real women, right? Her idea of what it means to be a woman is rooted in biology rather than like the social gender roles that trans people fit into or don't fit into, right? So yeah, the other thing about like the brand of feminism that J.K. Rowling grew up in is that like it's rooted in like biological sex, right? Not just like the biologically essentialist understanding of men, but like the biology of women, right? Which is, yeah, important, right? It is totally like legitimate to think that, but like they get too lost in it, right? They get too lost in like what it means to be a woman is all about like having a womb, like having breasts or having a feminine features, right? They get too lost in that. Funny thing, like Rowling has more progressive views than most of society if she is transphobic than most of, well, a lot of society is transphobic. That's the thing, right? I mean, yeah, trans issues are sort of like a niche thing right now. Can we look up, okay, so here it is. This is the lesbian group that J.K. Rowling is a member in. Keep in mind, none of these people are transgender, right? All of these people are lesbians, right? So, and some of these people like do not fit like the traditional, you know, model of what it means to be a woman, right? Like look at this person. Like there's a pretty good chance that like this person will be clocked as a transgender, right? Like come on. Yeah, there's a thing called like transvestigations now, where it's like people are like hyper fixating on like the features of like mostly celebrities, right? Saying like, ooh, they have a more masculine jawline. The ridge of their nose is like looks more masculine, so that means that they were born male and that they're trans, right? And it comes from like a deep rooted like transphobia, right? It's sort of like they're haunted by the existence of trans people, so they're like looking for targets to attack, right? Like this person especially, I'm not seeing the picture I'm looking for, but like this person looks like they could be trans, right? Or this person, right? Yeah, I mean, she has attacked trans people, right? Of course she's going to say like, oh, of course I believe that like all trans people are valid, but I just don't think that they belong in women's spaces, and that's the issue here. And then she says, hold on. So like, yeah, like a lot of these people like could be clocked as transgender, but like the point is that they don't fit into the role of like what like it means to be like traditionally like feminine, right? So anyways, Rowling continued that she felt mentally sexless in her youth, and that a majority of teenagers will grow out of gender dysphoria, that inclusive language is hostile and alienating to women who have degrading slurs spat at us by violent men. Yeah, what does this mean? Right? I mean, I guess it means that like she's drawing a wedge between woman, like biologically female woman and trans woman, saying like, oh, you haven't gone through the same struggles as we have, right? You haven't you don't know what it's like to be female your whole life. And it's like, yeah, they don't, but that's the point. Trans women are women, but trans women are not cis women. There is a difference there. The point is that like trans women pass as women, right, in everyday life, so that should be treated as women. Anyway, this is like kind of like infantilizing trans people, right? Saying that like, oh, transgenderism is like just a mental illness, or that like people could be groomed into becoming trans, right? That like that's the big discourse now, right? Is that like is the grooming discourse, right? Like people are saying that like the only reason someone would be gay or trans is because that they're groomed into it, because it's not natural to be gay or trans, right? Like nobody is born gay or trans. So like, and it is like minimizing the struggles that trans people go through, right? Like saying she felt mentally sexless. What does that mean? It means that she did not like identify with like the rigid gender roles that were set. Like, if anything, this means that like she just was like a regular person, like a regular human being, right? What does it mean to be mentally sexless, right? Like that's not what it means to be transgender. Yeah, you don't grow out of gender dysphoria. That's not a thing. That's not how gender dysphoria works, right? Yeah, people don't grow out of gender dysphoria. And if anything, like a lot of trans people, they realize that they're trans later on in life and that they always have been trans. and that that they, you know, that like the struggles that they've been through throughout their entire lives have been because of their repressed gender identity, right? Just saying that like gender dysphoria is just a phase and that they'll grow out of it. Like people like trans people like commit suicide because they're unable to transition, right? Yeah. So it is like this statement is transphobic because it's like minimizing the struggle that trans people go through, like as if J.K. Rowling could have been like, she's saying like, oh, I could have been trans if I had taken the different path in life or something. It's a very boomer conception of like gender. Yeah, J.K. Rowling is a huge boomer, right? So yeah, I'm not saying that J.K. Rowling hates men, or I'm saying that like she is heavily influenced by like the traumatic experiences she's had in her life, being a victim of sexual assault and domestic abuse, and that she has like a hatred and fear of men, right? Like she says that she's married to a good man now, but she used to be in a violent marriage, right? So like a lot of man haters don't hate literally all men. Like people have said that like the most prolific like active man haters are like heterosexual women who often have boyfriends or wives, right? And it's like the point is like they do feel like they have to be wary of men at the very least, right? And that again, that is totally legitimate. I'm not saying that's wrong. What I'm saying is that they're directing their anger in the wrong directions, right? Like, I hate to say it, but like they sort of like can't get over it. Like they feel like they have to change something. They feel like in a way that like their heart's in the right place, of course. They feel like they have to change something about men. They have to like make sure that like other women don't go through the same experiences that they do, like being abused by men, right? And likewise, J.K. Rowling says that she just has concerns about single sex spaces, right? What does that mean? It means that like she's afraid of trans people. She has a phobia of trans people. She's transphobic, right? So I think she has to like walk a thin line, right? Because she is a public figure, and she has to say, right? Like she has to say stuff like, I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic. Of course, I believe trans people are valid, but she doesn't say but. She says, my life has been shaped by being female. Again, like saying that like the implication is that like trans women are not real women because they're not female. She said, I do not believe it's hateful to say so. Hateful to say what exactly? She's being very vague because she knows she has to walk a thin line. Phobia is fear, disgust, hate, etc. I mean, she sort of does say that, right? She sort of does say that she does have like a phobia of trans people, as in like she is afraid of trans people. I mean, she literally says that like she has concerns about single sex spaces, as in like she is afraid of like trans women infiltrating like the spaces that cis women enjoy, right? She literally like wrote a story, right, about about a trans like serial killer, right? She wrote a story about like a man who dresses up as a woman to infiltrate woman spaces so that they can kill women, right? It's a very like transphobic concept, right? Yeah, apparently that story was not very well received because again it had a bigoted premise, but also it just was not a very good story, right? Kind of like Kanye West, her artistic output really fell off a cliff after they became hateful, right? Clearly, like they're both like going through some mental stuff, right? Some mental struggles, and they are like having like a extended public breakdown. Yeah, so this article was from June 7th, 2020. So yeah, after several months of the pandemic, yeah, England's had a rough go at the pandemic. They were in lockdown quite a bit. So yeah, everyone was negatively affected by the pandemic in one way or another, right? A lot of people became like super online. A lot of people like became power users of Twitter, just like J.K. Rowling did. And yeah, a lot of people like feel helpless and powerless, and they feel like they have to do something, right? Okay, you're gonna play Hogwarts Legacy. Okay, goodbye, Mormon Kato. Thanks for sharing your opinion with us. Goodbye. I don't care if you play Hogwarts Legacy, right? I don't mind. Again, I am arguing against this like boycott of Hogwarts Legacy. Because I've said, like, you know, I think plenty of people enjoy the world of Harry Potter, and they should be allowed to enjoy things. People should be allowed to enjoy things, right? And it makes the left look very bad when it's like when they seem like they're always tone policing. They're always like policing things. Like you're saying like you're not allowed to enjoy this. If you enjoy this, then you're transphobic. You're whatever. You're supporting transphobia. Yeah. Again, it comes from like a place of like learned helplessness, where it's like they don't really feel that they can change anything, and so that they sort of just like lash out in whatever direction they can, right? Yeah, have fun playing Hogwarts Legacy. I hope you do have fun. Oh, by the way, Hogwarts Legacy isn't out yet, right? It comes out tomorrow, so have fun trying to play Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah. Goodbye, Mormon. I wonder if that guy was actually a Mormon. That would be funny. I wonder if he was trolling. I wonder if he's like secretly transphobic, just like J.K. Rowling, like they have to hide their transphobia. They have to be like, oh, of course I'm pro-trans. Of course I love trans. I think trans people are totally valid. But, you know, I don't think it's transphobic to say that trans women don't belong in women's spaces. Again, like trans women are women, but trans women are not cis women. There is a difference, okay? I think like the two sides, the left and the right, they just like talk past each other whenever they're arguing, right? Like when the right wing says trans women are not women, what they really mean is trans women are not cis women, right? And when the left wing says trans women are women, what they mean is that trans women should be treated as women. Trans women are not cis women, but they are women in the sense, in the social sense. They present as women, right? They are women in the sense that they are perceived as women, right? Like, how often do you interact with someone's biology when you're interacting with them? Not unless you're like having sex with them, right? Like, if someone appears to be female, if they act female, everyone treats them as female, then, or as a woman, rather. If they look like a woman, they act like a woman, everyone treats them like a woman, then, like, functionally, they are a woman, right? That's the point. And to say that you're not allowed to be in women's spaces because you're not female, I mean, I'm sorry, but that is kind of transphobic, right? Yeah, so thank you to Mormon_Cato for playing devil's advocate here. Yeah,